Most of us, when we think about agriculture in North Korea, immediately picture skinny, long-horned buffaloes slowly trudging through flooded rice paddies, dragging a wooden plow behind them. Yes, undoubtedly, large areas of crops in North Korea are still cultivated using animal draft power. But after the Korean War, which ended with an armistice in 1953, industrialization began in North Korea with the support of the Soviet Union, aiming to provide the multi-million-strong North Korean army with all the necessary equipment and weaponry. The construction of large industrial and machine-building enterprises began, where cannons, ammunition, and military equipment were produced in great quantities. Any army, first and foremost, is an extensive logistics network. That's why, already in the 1950s, North Korea, in addition to importing ready-made GAZ and ZIS trucks from the Soviet Union, began producing their copies at its own factories. Not only trucks, but also tractors, which would serve a dual purpose, would have military significance. Besides working in the fields, they would also be used as artillery tractors. And it's still unclear which of these functions was more important for the tractor. It's quite possible that if the Korean army hadn't needed tractors as haulers, tractors would have been an extremely rare sight in the DPRK. Thanks to Soviet assistance, the North Koreans built not only irrigation canals, but also their country's first tractor factory in the city of Kumsong. Its construction began in 1954. The completed factory, built in a short time frame, covered an area of about 400,000 square meters, with 140,000 square meters taken up directly by the production workshops. The factory's total capacity was 10,000 tractors per year. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. Rumor has it that nowadays, underground production facilities no smaller in area have been built, where they assemble not tractors, but specialized chassis for ballistic missile systems. And about 20,000 workers are employed in these kinds of underground workshops. But let's get back directly to North Korean tractors. The Soviet Union played an active role in the construction of the Kumsong tractor factory. It supplied equipment, engineers, construction machinery, and technical documentation. So it's no surprise that the first tractor to roll out of this factory was a copy of the Soviet wheeled tractor T-28, which had just started production at the Vladimir tractor plant in the USSR. In North Korea, this model was named Chollima 28. The tractor was named after the mythical winged horse Chollima, which could cover 500 kilometers in a day. According to legend, none of the mortals could tame it, so it flew up into the sky. Today in North Korea, not only a tractor is named Chollima, but also a subway line in Pyongyang, several models of trolleybuses, and the Chollima 1 launch rocket. Besides this, Chollima is also the name of a mass workers' movement, similar to the Stakhanovite movement in the USSR in the 1930s. For North Korean ideology, the winged horse Chollima is a symbol of progress in the nation's forward movement. It's no surprise that the North Korean national football team also bears the name Chollima. The first Chollima 28 tractors were produced in 1958. They were assembled from ready-made units and components imported from the Soviet Union. Later, as North Korean mechanical engineering developed, the production of a large number of tractor units and parts was localized at local factories. The Chollima 28 was a wheeled, general-purpose row crop tractor of a 0.6 traction class, equipped with a 4-stroke, 2-cylinder air-cooled engine with a power output of 28 horsepower. On later models of the tractor, a 4-cylinder diesel engine with a displacement of 4.1 liters and a power output of 50 horsepower was installed. While in the USSR, the T-28 Vladimir tractor was produced from 1954 to 1964, after which the Vladimir tractor plant switched to manufacturing more advanced models. In North Korea, due to the lack of proper technical infrastructure and finances, production of the Chollima 28 continued for several decades. During this time, the tractor became outdated both morally and technically, but due to the lack of a replacement and the exceptional importance of such equipment not only for agriculture but also for the country's defense, its production continued year after year. The Chollima 28, in addition to agriculture, was also used by the workers and peasants' militia as a tractor for small-towed multiple rocket launcher systems. Chollima 28 tractors have repeatedly participated in military parades on the main square of the North Korean capital. The equipment involved in such ceremonial events was always painted. As you may have noticed, these parade tractors were fitted with neat metal cabins. But these were only individual, specially prepared units. Most civilian tractors working in the fields couldn't boast such cabins. And it was hard to even call those homemade wooden structures a cabin. They looked more like wooden birdhouses or plank huts with cutouts instead of windows. Also, for working in flooded rice fields, the rear wheels with rubber tires were replaced with homemade metal wheels with massed lugs, which significantly improved the tractor's off-road capability. The Kumsong tractor plant produced not only a wheeled model, but also the Pyongyang 75 track tractor, which was a licensed copy of the famous Soviet DT-75 tractors. These tractors were used in large numbers by the North Korean army as artillery tractors. Almost until the mid-90s, the only tractors produced in the DPRK were the Chollima 28-wheeled model and the Pyongyang 75 track tractor. Therefore, with each passing year, the need to produce new, more modern tractors became increasingly urgent. Finally, in the early 90s, Kumsong gradually began to master the production of a new tractor model, the Chollima 2000, which was also a copy of a Soviet tractor, this time the NTZ-80. The production of a more complex tractor was not easy. There were significant objective reasons for this. In the early 90s, the socialist bloc led by the USSR collapsed. All material, technical, financial, and food support for the DPRK ceased. It was extremely difficult to survive, let alone develop, in such harsh conditions without external support. The difficult foreign policy situation in which North Korea's top military and political leadership, headed by Kim Il-sung, found itself was also making itself felt. Having lost the economic and military support provided by the USSR, the North Korean leadership feared losing power, finding itself alone against the Western capitalist countries. That's why, in emergency mode and sparing no resources, it began to develop its own nuclear and missile program, neglecting the rest of the economy. All this led to a terrible famine, which mainly affected provincial towns and settlements, claiming, according to various estimates from 1994 to 1998, between 250,000 and 3 million lives. As for the tractor program, it did not stop, but it was significantly scaled back. The Chollima 2000 was produced in small quantities and was mainly used for propaganda purposes, taking part in lavish parades held by North Korea's new leader Kim Jong-il, the son of the late, radiant Kim Il-sung, who died in 1994. Due to the severe economic situation in the 1990s, it was never possible to launch the Chollima 2000 tractor into any kind of mass production. Therefore, in order to meet the needs of the national economy and the army for tractors, and at the same time prevent the tractor factory from standing idle, it was decided to carry out gradual overhauls and modernization of the old Chollima 28-wheel tractors, which, after several decades of use, to put it mildly, did not look very presentable. The tractors would have their engines and gearboxes replaced, get a fresh coat of paint, and the old wooden cabs would now be swapped out for cabs made of sheet steel. If before they were called birdhouses, now they looked more like untidy, empty transformer boxes. This kind of modernization of the old Chollima 28 tractors went on for a long 20 years. And it was only in 2017, under the third Kim of the dynasty, Kim Jong-un, that the serial production of the new Chollima 804 tractor was initiated. The Kumsong tractor factory was specially modernized for the production of this tractor. Most likely, this model is a copy of a tractor from one of the Chinese brands. The Chollima 804 was equipped with a locally produced engine with 80 horsepower and features full four-wheel drive. The transmission is mechanical, with 12 speeds. The new tractor was actively used by the DPRK authorities for propaganda purposes. Just look at the grand-scale presentation of the Chollima 804, which took place in 2017. At that time, several hundred brand-new tractors rolled out in parade formation onto the square in front of the main government building of the DPRK. Later, they lined up in straight columns. They drove along the main streets of Pyongyang. Photos from this event spread all over the world. And the main star of the show was Kim Jong-un, who got behind the wheel of one of the tractors. Like previous Chollima 804 models, it takes part in military parades, or it serves as a towing vehicle for multiple rocket launcher systems,